my God! Yo, they called it a 2. They called it a 2. What? They called it a 2. That's a 2. They called it a 2. They called it a 2. It's a 2. Yo. Whoa. It's a 2. It's a 2. That's a 2. That's a 2. Oh, he did the choke. That's a 2. It's a 2.
That crew is the best, by the way. I'm so happy they're joining us at ESPN. Everyone was stunned after Hallie's heroics last night, including Charles Barkley, who also had this to say about the series moving forward. Charles.
The Knicks, to me, they look tired. They did.
Exhausted.
They look exhausted. Because obviously we have a camera view where we can watch players. Like, yo, this man is bent over in the second quarter. And I says, but the Patriots going to play like this every game. If they play 4 games, 5 games, 6 games, 7 games. And now, because the Knicks went an extra game because we were working on the schedule with the Celtics, these things that we're going to play every other day now.
That's right, we are.
And you can't – so to answer your question, can they play those guys –
7 guys.
every other day? No, they cannot.
Oh, Monica, the name is fitting. Is the Pacers' pace too much for New York?
I'm not going to say too much, but it does require deliberate attention and focus in terms of guarding. And I think you saw that in the fourth quarter, clutch time specifically in the fourth quarter, and in the overtime period, because their variance in the half court, some of the looks that Aaron Nesmith got, the back cut by Nembhard that we talked about this morning, their variance in the half court is a part of their pace as well. It's not just up and down transition.
I'm over having excuses. Like, every single series, when will the Knicks get tired? Like, that's been the common question asked, right? And they've been able to battle through it. So no more excuses for me on that end, because the Knicks can dictate the pace. I think it's about being intentional when the game requires it to. So, look, when Cat hits a transition 3, like, that's good pace if you want to play fast. You know, if you talk about Jalen Brunson getting a quick post-up, that's good pace. But I think them trying to mimic Indiana's pace is the wrong strategy for them to have. Like, I go back again to that turnover by Jalen Brunson last night. That was the pace they were playing with in the first, second, and third quarter. Can't play that way down the stretch. The pace has to be slower, but that's up to game management, and that's where I think the Knicks have an advantage if they can figure it out.
Okay, let's check in with Charlie, as in Charlie's Angels. Stephen A., what do you think? You're on a new big screen. You're looking great. We moved you around the studio.
Well, first of all, I do like myself on the big screen. What I did have a problem with was y'all taking pictures during the commercial break right in front of my face, like blocking me. You know what I'm saying? That was very disrespectful. That was very disrespectful. All right,
No, we put you in some of them, and then we asked you out.
I'm sorry for the distraction. Could you come here for a second, please? I mean, my nose is a little shiny here before I get into the conversation. Thank you very much, please. Thank you so much. I really
Actually, I think you have enough makeup on.
Anyway, you know, I mean, but it was a little shiny. It looked like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I didn't want to be that way. All right, now here's the deal, y'all. Here's the deal. Jay Williams, I'm very disappointed in your take, Jay Williams, because you're not being as real and authentic as I know you to be. We have to pay attention to pace in this series, and here's the reason why. Indiana has proven they can go 11 deep. They went 11 deep on many occasions throughout the season, okay? They're one of the fastest, if not the fastest paced team. And, Jay, you know this better than me. Do you realize that Indiana runs even after makes by the opposition? It ain't just missed and they get out running. They run after makes. And so you got a guy in Rick Carlisle, when you look at him going 11 deep, 11 paces average at least 15 minutes a game during the regular season. 11. So this is Rick Carlisle we're talking about, a championship coach who knows what's required in order to win championships, all right? Juxtapose that to Tom Thibodeau, a great coach without question, but never has coached in an NBA Finals as a head coach. It has not happened. And so we have to look at that, and we have to think about what we have said about the New York Knicks, how this man will run his players into the ground. The New York Knicks, in terms of their bench productivity, averaged a league low 21.7 points, while also playing the fewest minutes of anybody in the NBA. You think Rich Carlisle's not paying attention to that? Of course he is. That's why he's continuously imploring his team, run, because he's playing the long game. Now, I don't know if it'll work for this series. I hope not. I think the New York Knicks can withstand it, but it's not an accident that they won the way that they did last night. Up 14 with 2:40 left, up 9 with 52 seconds left. New York Knicks turning the ball over. There were a couple of occasions, Jay, you saw Jalen Brunson. He was lucky. A couple of more were not turnovers. We got to look at that. Anunoby as well. Lucky. There's not turnovers. I'm just saying we can't ignore in terms of pace of play, particularly with the Pacers, and how it's very intentional with them, especially against somebody like the Knicks, whose depth they obviously question.
Well, can I cook for a second?
Let me use your apron. What you need?
Yeah, sure. Molly, what was the question again?
Thank you. That's what I was going to.
I don't even remember.
It's on the bottom. It's the Pacers pace too much.
Pacers depth.
Yeah, Pacers pace too much.
Problem.
So Stephen A.
And that's what JB Bickerstaff said yesterday was going to dictate this.
Agreed.
If Indy plays at their pace, that Indy's winning.
Okay. So with that being said, whose job is it, Stephen A., to control the pace of the game? It's Tom Thibodeau.
Well, Brunson and Thibodeau. Thibodeau and Tom and Brunson.
So my thing is, the only reason that this question would be, yes, the Pacers' pace is too much for the Knicks, is if Tom Thibodeau can't control the pace that's conducive for the Knicks to play out to win the damn series. So you can't match that by playing the same pace as the Pacers. You need to, at certain moments of the game,
I agree,
to control the pace of the game.
I don't disagree.
That's why I still believe that the Knicks are going to win the series, because they have to control that, right? But I don't think the Pacers' pace is just going to play.
But hold on, Jay. Hold it. How is Tom Thibodeau, what is he going to do? If you're running after made baskets, you're making the Knicks run. You saw Karl Anthony Towns looking a bit gimpy late, right? Okay, I'm just saying, I'm looking at stuff like this. It's making me nervous.
Well, that's different. I mean, making you nervous. I mean, I know even after made shots, when you coach thousands of games or you're playing thousands of games, it's like, hey, you can put a defender up on the ball. It's like, okay, just let me give you a little shadow defense. Let me slow you down a little bit. It's just about tagging people where they're at on the court, and your defensive scheme has to fit that to slow them down, to control the pace of the game.
I would also add this. The way that the question is phrased in terms of it being too much, if the answer is yes right now, then you're signing up that the series is over, right?
Yes.
Is it a key to this game? Is it the number one thing on the scouting report? Absolutely. It's going to be pivotal, but there are ways that I do think the Knicks
that's
can
where I
slow the
want to
pace.
go right now. And Stephen A. just alluded to the fact that he's concerned about Cat's health as well. Do we think the Knicks can come back from this and still win this series, Monica?
I do. Through this postseason, they have a track record of responding after losses. Jalen Brunson is terrific, plus 35 points after losses. He is much better when he does not turn the ball over. 7 turnovers for him is an outlier in terms of the record that provides the Knicks. I actually think for, 46 minutes of the ball game, I mean, they played, or 36 rather, they played good basketball. Like, the Knicks overall played a good game. There were just a few moments, which represents playoff basketball in terms of the margin of error. In those few moments, ultimately, small slices lead to your demise.
Stephen A., can your Knicks recover from this epic Game 1 collapse?
Damn it, they better. They better. That's what I'm going to say is the answer to that question. And by the way, Monica, you know, the Boston Celtics looked pretty damn good for the first 3 quarters in games 1 and 2 against the New York Knicks. You know, and then look what happened with them. So, you know, at the end of the day, did you close? The answer last night was an emphatic no. They did not close. Am I worried about them? Sure. Do I believe they can still win this series? Absolutely. But they're going to have to do a better job of controlling pace and guarding the shooters. They're going to have to do that. If they don't, they're going to lose this series.
Yeah, I'm with these two. Look, I think Indiana, it's a 50-50 shot for me about who can win this. I think this is going to come down to Game 7. Because their games mirror each other, and they have a lot of similarities in the way they play. But I will say, once again, management of the game is going to be critical for the Knicks. They were up 9 with 43 seconds left to go in the damn game. Up 9. They're up 14 with 2:51 to go in the game.
Yeah.
They seized control of the entire game until those miscues in the last 2.5, 3 minutes. So if you're the Knicks in the locker room, obviously Knicks fans should be devastated. I get it. It's one game. But if anything, if we take care of the details,
But
we should have won that game, and we can win game 2.
But they got to win game 2.
They have to.
If they don't win
I think it's the
game
next
2,
2 out of 3.
I think party's over.
Percentage in terms of if the Pacers go up 2-0, they got like an 85% chance to win the series. Like the numbers.
I think it's actually 78% when you win game 1 as well.
It is, yeah.
So,
you got to win the next 2 out of 3. That's how I look at
absolutely. Tyrese Haliburton's father, John, hasn't attended a Pacers game since his on-court confrontation with Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo in the first round of the playoffs. He was channeling Reggie Miller and his son, letting the Knicks know they choked watching the game from a bar. Charles Barkley has comments.
It's time to let Mr. Haliburton back in the building.
Yes, it is.
Adam, I'm asking you, hey, my man paid his dues. He did something really, really stupid, but he's been punished. And I'm asking you and the Indiana Pacers to let Mr. Haliburton back in the building for game 3 and 4. I mean, he paid his dues.
So you're saying the game's in Indianapolis?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, because let me tell you something. He won't come up to New York acting like that.
No, you don't want to. You don't want him in this building.
No,
but back at home.
Come and tell you something. He come up to New York doing that crazy stuff. He won't make it back to Indy.
Chuck's the best. Jay, well, should Hallie's dad be allowed back?
Yes, I think he should. I think Chuck is on point here. And I would say it for this reason. Did he do wrong by going on the court? Yes. Did he exchange hands? Did it turn into a fight? No. Right? So I think, look, when you evaluate the situation, I'm allowed to give him a pass to a degree. He got slapped on the wrist. I think getting publicly shamed is a really big thing. I think Hallie had to step up in his own manhood and say that is not the type of behavior that is tolerated in our family, and we move forward. But I don't think that he should have a lifetime bar from NBA games. I do think he should be allowed to come back in. Maybe not right now. Maybe you give it a little bit more time. But I do believe there's space for him to come back and play, come back and participate and be in the arena.
Stephen A?
Well, I said a few days ago it was time to let him back in the building. I thought that, I didn't want the man to get a death sentence, figuratively speaking. We all make mistakes. As you often say, Molly, none of us want to be identified by our worst moments.
Absolutely.
Or classified or characterized by our worst moments. It was a bad moment for him. He was wrong, and to put himself in that position, it was shameful. And to me, one of the things that I've repeatedly stated is that perhaps outside of that itself, to have your son have to come up on a podium at a post-game conference and to say my dad was wrong. I couldn't be more proud of Tyrese Haliburton for doing that, but I couldn't be more turned off by his own father, who's supposed to be the adult in the room, figuratively speaking, putting his son in that position. Having said all of that, again, you shouldn't be defined by your worst moments. I definitely think that he's paid his dues, but I want to add this caveat. Even though I think that he should be brought back, that he should be allowed to come see his own son play in the arena, I didn't like last night. Yes, he was at a bar, but knowing the kind of situation that you put your son in, that you put the Indiana Pacers in, that you put the league in, by doing what you did on the court with Giannis, one would think that you would be guarded in any kind of public platform, whether it's an arena or even a sports bar. One would think that because of what you experienced, that you would be mindful of cameras, cell phone cameras, and everything else being on you, and you would guard yourself against doing stuff like that, mimicking your son and all of that stuff, because that's exactly the kind of thing that got you in trouble to begin with. So I will tell you, I didn't like seeing that last night. That concerned me, but that doesn't mean that he shouldn't be allowed to be back in the stadium. This is a once-in-a-lifetime moment that his son possibly is experiencing. I don't think it will be once in a lifetime, because I think the Indiana Pacers will be relevant for years to come. But you never know. And so this moment right here, he doesn't deserve to miss out on that when his son is leading the charge. I think that he deserves to be let back in the arena.
Not y'all making me the heavy hand. I say, and it's real simple for me, no, if they go to the finals, you can come back and you got to sit in the suite. You can't sit courtside. Then next year we can go back to business as usual. I still think you finish out this series on the suspension, They get to the finals, you're welcome back, but you just can't be courtside.
Just because it was too egregious to confront Giannis like that and
yeah,
come up, you have player safety as well.
And to S.A.'s point,
Monica,
the league is in the league and the player relationship. You know, they got to work together, obviously, right? And so families are expected to represent their players, whoever the, you know what I mean? Like, I just think there's trust there that was breached in terms of the way that both parties typically look out for each other. So if they advance, you're welcome back, and you got to sit upstairs.
Well,
shout out to you, John.
Well,
You're
let's
my guy,
say this. Let's say this. We said both Jay and I, Monica. We said the arena. We said nothing about courtside. You know, said Charles Barkley said the arena. He didn't say courtside. They said let him back in the arena. That's number one. And number two, listen. I mean, when you're a parent, you're figuratively speaking, you're the adult in the room. And we all lament throughout history, throughout our years of covering sports, that parent that is living vicariously through their children, and they get a bit excessive in their behavior.
At an AAU gym, yeah. At an arena versus the two-time MVP. Come on, S.A. I'm not saying he can't come back. I'm with y'all, but we're not gonna come back mid-round. Come back next round if they get to the finals. That's all.
Okay, I'm just saying that you know what, he shouldn't be. I didn't say he should be allowed courtside. I'm saying I agree with you there. I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying nobody said he should be courtside.
Okay.
But to not be in the stadium, in the stands, watching your son, you should be able to do that.
Next round.
Stephen, I know you said you didn't like what you saw last night. I would just push back slightly on, it's not like he had his own camera videotaping himself. I mean, he was just at a random bar. Enjoying. I mean, look,
he lightweight, the mayor of Indiana.
But that's fine. That's who he is, right? But it's not like he's projecting himself out there, showing it, right? Like, he's with his people celebrating his son.
I was
like,
fine
I don't think
with
there's
a lot
anything.
Of cameras.
Yeah, but I mean, look, I can't control what cameras are around me.
No. I'm just saying there's a lot of cameras. We're just looking at it.
But Jay, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't have any issue with that whatsoever if he didn't already endure what he's endured. If that had never happened, I would say nothing about it. Him engaging in that's what he was known to do. And remember that incident on the court with Giannis, that was the tip of the iceberg, because there were people that were complaining about him to the league office prior to that incident taking place. So his behavior at the arena is what ultimately led to him to his exodus. So knowing that you on the verge of possibly coming back, I don't care if you're at a bar, I don't care, anywhere in public. You want to mind how you project and how you could potentially be perceived if you're him, because you've already put yourself, the team, and your son in a bad spot. That's all I'm saying.
So, Stephen A., you're saying essentially it was accumulation of things of why he ultimately got suspended. It wasn't just this one isolated incident. He'd already been reported to the league. And then on top of it, you're kind of doubling down. Even though you're with your people at a bar, it's still like the optics of the choke and the whole thing. I understand what you're saying.
Just chill out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lay low. I get you.
Just chill out.
As a kid who was in trouble, what can I do? What can I not do? Oh, I can do this. I'm going to go do this instead.
Kid.
Maybe it's
keyword kid.
That's true.
Not
that was a
grown
child.
woman, Monica.
You're right.
Wanna try to boast at what I look like. Put them down, try to wear, I pull up all brains. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA, ESPN.